Hello. Welcome, guys. As always, I just want to do a quick little test to make sure you can hear me. And it looks like you can, so I'm so happy you're here this evening with me, live with Lucas. I suppose this is the second time we've done this. As we kind of hunker down in our homes and just like practice that social distancing and everything. So there's this quick little adjustment I'm going to do on the camera. Bam! I don't like to look at myself. I don't need to be looking at myself. But I do have access to the comments, so if you guys are watching online or anything like that, just let me know. Tonight I'm really, really excited to bring you some really technical stuff, just for fun. Like, I'm not expecting this to be a tutorial where you go all of a sudden and learn how to play guitar or anything like that, but just to bring you into my life a little bit and also honestly just give you something to do tonight. So you can just hang out with me, grab a coffee. Got my Shakeology water. For some of you who know this, I'm kind of into working out a little bit. So Shakeology is great. I guess I don't need to get into all about Shakeology. You can look it up yourself, but that is tap water and it is delicious. Aren't you just so thankful for tap water? Did you see what I did there? That was like a shout out to the Gratitude Grotto, where Jim goes live and talks about things that he is thankful for. And yeah, I mean, it's true. Grateful for water too. Tonight, I'm really excited to show you, well, a couple things. I play my guitar all the time. I play it for work and I play it for fun. And so I thought I would, it's about time to change my guitar strings. So I thought tonight what we could do just to hang out together is I will change my guitar strings and show you just like how I change my strings, because it's just a skill that you have when you play guitar. You have to learn how to change strings, and I'll just kind of talk you through all of that for fun, and I'll show you what's in my guitar case, because that's always fun to wonder what's inside a guitar case. So much more than a guitar. And I've also got a little Devo that I will share with you. I love this Bible. I love the Bible, but I love this Bible. This is a NIV, but it's a journaling Bible. And what I love about it is that it's not in all these weird little columns. It's just like a normal book. And then there's also a whole section for journaling, so that's super cool. So, first things first. I want to see... Yes, this is going to be a fun night. Shout out to Jim. Hi, Jim. I think you're watching on YouTube. Okay, yeah, I can see people like on YouTube. That's pretty fun. Okay, so we'll just get into it. The first thing you do when you're changing your guitar strings is you take your old strings off. Now, what I'm going to do... Okay, so I'm literally just going to do exactly like I normally do when I'm changing my guitar strings. And I'll just kind of talk through as I'm going. So the first thing I do is I get the guitar totally naked. So I take off the capo, I take off the strap. Sometimes I take a minute and tighten things that need to be tightened. So there it's like sort of naked, but now I'm actually going to take the strings right off of it. So you want to do this kind of slowly, because if you guitars are meant to have tension pushing this way with the strings. There's like a tension happening, so you don't want to just snip them, because then the tension changes too quickly. So you literally, I just go and wind things down really slowly. And you can hear, this is fun, you can hear. All right, so here's a trick. I have this handy dandy tool. This is a guitar multi-tool, and I took so long to actually get one of these. I don't know why I didn't get one earlier, but this thing helps you to just wind it all down a lot quicker. So I usually just take those off. Like once the tension is basically gone, you can go a little faster. So yeah, I just take these out. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm feeling like kind of tired today. It's been a long day. Of course, work is crazy. This is one of the phrases that I think is kind of summarizes what we're doing at Brookside these days. It's a steep learning curve, and we don't even really know what the curve is. So we are kind of, you guys might not know this, but we're sort of making this up as we go. What's really valuable to us is getting into the lives of our community, and one of the only ways to do that right now is through online video, online interaction. So we're just trying to do everything we can to create meaningful content for you guys, to just, I mean, it's all based on that mission of developing fully engaged followers of Jesus. And just such a huge part of being a disciple of Christ is your relationships with people, right? And so when you are social distancing, that's obviously creating a big barrier to your ability to, you guys know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard. And at Brookside, like, as staff and as leaders, we just want to do everything we can to help you guys out. So that's why we are going live so often, and we're here for you. And pretty big part of that is just hanging out. So there you go. All right, so I've taken the strings off. They're all cool here. And then I go down to this side. Now, this is where this other tool comes in. Guitars are really amazing instruments because so much of it is, it's all mechanical. It's not digital at all. So, of course, there's a pickup inside, which is digital, but the actual instrument itself is mechanical. So these strings are all held on, and it's just tension. There's no locking mechanisms. And with that tension in here in the bridge, there are these little knobs, pegs, and they are really hard to get out. So I'll take my hand and push them out, but that is really hard. That's what I used to do, and I had all these funny little tricks. Like I'd put a dime on my finger and then balance it, and then and then I could do it, but I don't have that now. So there's this little tool in here that just helps. So watch this. This is so easy. And then that little thing just pops right out like that. So just put that on the ground. And it sounds like they're breaking, but it's really not. It's just very, very tense. Tense times, guys. Super tense. Intense. One time we went camping intense. No laugh track? There's no laugh track. Okay. That one's hard. You've noticed that I went quiet because this is actually hard. There, got it. There's upgrades for guitars. I don't know if you guys knew that. You know how you can upgrade, like, basically everything in life, you can buy upgrades for it? There are upgrades for guitars, too. So you can buy tomorrow's fort contest. Yes, tomorrow's fort contest. If you guys have made forts, you have one more day to make a fort. Send me a picture on any social network, and I'm going to showcase some of them tomorrow night for Brookside Youth Live. We go at 7 o'clock, and I will showcase some indoor forts. Okay, this is the next thing I do. Because these strings can be they're metal and phosphorus bronze, right? Phosphorus bronze. They can be sharp, so I just wrap them in amongst themselves, and then you have this nice little piece of art. So, interesting thing about used guitar strings. So I will probably end up using these again. Professionals, it's kind of a gross thing. Let's just be honest. It's kind of gross to reuse a guitar string because these are a couple months old and they've been played and they kind of lost their tone. But I have this other guitar here at home. I call it my beach guitar. A lot of guitarists have a beach guitar. It's just that guitar that kind of sits there. You pick it up when you want to play and stuff. And so I will probably put these on that because I don't like to put new strings on it that much just because I don't really care that much. But these will sound better than the ones that are on there now, so I'll keep those. So who do we have on here? Nick and Brookside Baptist Church. And the cool thing about going online, going live, is that I know more people will watch this later. Maybe you're busy, maybe you're just having dinner or whatever, but hey Nick, it's good to see you here. Okay, so now my guitar is naked. We was talking about tension, even this little bridge will come out. And I was talking about upgrades. So these little pegs, these are plastic, but you can buy ebony ones, which are wood, and they resonate a little better. And they would probably add a little more warmth to the sound of your guitar because plastic is so like bang, bang, bang. So ebony is a wood. It's a hard wood, but it's softer than plastic. So that could probably add a little bit of warmth, and I might do that one day. They're not expensive or anything. You just one thing at a time, right? And same with these bridges. You can get ivory bridges. This is a plastic one. The trick with bridges is that if you buy a second, if you upgrade your bridge, you have to go get it like lathed down. So that's a bit more of a commitment. So now my guitar is fully nude. I go ahead and clean it. So just a regular cloth and some polish. So I've had this polish for probably almost 8 or 10 years. It's almost gone. And then the next thing I'll do is use some oil, lemon oil on the neck. So first of all, I'm pretty generous with this, and I just put it all over, and on the back, and on the neck, just anywhere that's polished wood, and I don't even leave it on there for too long, and I just polish it down. This is just cleaning any of the oils off, cleaning any fingerprints, and when an instrument requires the natural resonance of the wood to make that beautiful sound you're looking for. And so when there's all of this oil on there, it actually hinders the sound quality that you're able to produce with your instrument. So oiling it, the fretboard, and cleaning the wood is an important step because you're actually kind of letting the instrument speak for itself a little bit more. You're kind of like helping its voice. So the top, I don't know, like Pastor Greg would actually know even more about the different types of wood that you can use. You can tell there's different types of wood on this guitar. Now this is I'll talk to you a little bit about my guitar. Because why not? This is fun. Just hanging out, doing something with my life. And then we are going to get into what it means to be a guitarist as a Christian, as a worship leader, and why it's important to take care of your instruments from a Christian perspective. Can you believe there's a Christian perspective on this stuff? Well, there is, and I think it's really important to think about and to talk about, and not just take for granted the opportunities that we have to build skills. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. I was just going to chat a little bit about what kind of guitar this is. This is an Ibanez. An Ibanez guitar. Now the name is like AEW21VK, and you could look that up if you really want to, but it's not entirely necessary. I do see all of these jokes happening about nudity and oil, so just like simmer down. I'm not one to blush, but I might blush tonight. The next thing I'm going to do is, wood. You guys are distracting me in the comments. The wood. These are exotic woods. So these are rare woods that this one, and that's what gives it that kind of very unique tone. This guitar is like a... this is the honest truth, okay? I'll just tell you how it is. I went into a store and I literally had like all this money and I was like, I'm gonna buy my like new guitar. And I thought I'll buy a Taylor or a Gibson. And then, I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but you play the one guitar just because it looked, so Ibanez as a name brand is known for their like metal, like hard rock metal music guitars. They're all like funky looking and cool, and they're not known for their acoustic guitars. So I went in and I played a couple Ibanez guitars. I was playing all these Taylors, they were beautiful. Played a couple of Gibsons, they were really nice. And then I just, for fun, picked up this guitar, kind of because it looks pretty. Like, I love this detail here. And it just so happened to be my favorite guitar of the day. And I just couldn't put it down. And I went to like a few different stores and I just couldn't stop. I love this guitar so much. I just think it's a bit of a workhorse. It's good acoustically, but it's also got a great pickup. It has a couple different ways you can plug it in. Like, it's just so cool. So that's fun. All right. I know this is all very nerdy, talking about guitars and stuff, but it's fun, you know? It's a big part of what I do, even at the church. This is a really big part of kind of what I bring with me and my family, is our like music stuff. So that's kind of cool to show you guys a little bit of behind the scenes into that. Okay, so now that I did that part, now I'm going to use some, this is lemon oil, and I just kind of squeeze it onto the neck, and this just, it cleans the neck of any and all grime and dirt, but it also moisturizes the hardwood. So again, I'm pretty generous with the oil here, and that is good. Then I take that same cloth and I just rub it in, and I rub it off, like I rub the like the dirt and the grime will naturally come off here, and the oil will go in to all of the little into the fretboard. So I'm not meticulous with this unless I've been playing it outside or something, but this really is my stage guitar, so it gets, like, I usually wash my hands before I play it, so it's not a very dirty guitar, but yeah, like sometimes I used to have a guitar I played outdoors all the time. That one would actually get kind of dirty. So anyway, I'm a bit spoiled that I've got a couple different guitars, so that's pretty cool. So now I can notice the difference, like already this is like, you can tell it's much oilier. Is that a word? You like that cutaway? Wax? No, you wouldn't put wax on a guitar because wax is a very, very soft material as opposed to the lacquer here. Wax would probably take the sound quality and like that. Just kidding. I'm not kidding, but that's what it would do. Okay. So after we've done this, I'm going to take a little break and kind of let that just sit in there for a second. How about we have a little spiritual moment here? So I've been reading this book called Um, Master of One. I would recommend it. It is not a page turner. I'm sorry to say. It's not like I've taken a long time to read it. Sometimes you read a book and it's like you just can't get enough. This book I've been reading for like a month and a half. It's a bit of a slow burn. That's okay. I would encourage you to read it. If you're like struggling to find like that one thing that you're really passionate about in life, I would encourage you to read this book. But it's called Master of One by Jason Reiner. That's not the book. That's my journal. It says Master of One by Jason Reiner. So look that up, Master of One. But his whole like premise for the whole book starts with 2 verses in the Bible. Sorry. Starts with 2 verses in the Bible that speak to what it looks like to really master a skill and how that in itself glorifies God and follows the example of Jesus himself. So there's 2 verses. I'll read them for you because they're quite amazing. So it's one of those times where you don't take them out of context, but you read the verse like with a bit of a micro lens, and you can get into all the surrounding context if you want to. But it's also, these verses actually quite nicely stand for themselves. So the first one is we'll go with Jesus' example first. So the idea is finding like one thing and working really hard to be really good at it. So for me, I guess I'm still trying to figure out like what's that one thing for me, but like playing guitar, like I've spent a lot of time learning how to play guitar. And I know some of you are like software engineers or nurses or like designers or architects, or, you know, you all have different jobs and you all are so blessed to have intelligence in different ways. And you've all used your skills and you've kind of developed yourselves in different ways. This is a verse in Mark, the book of Mark. This is Jesus, right? Story of Jesus. He's just gone through... so he's like healing people, and he's answering people's questions, and he's telling parables, and he is doing all this stuff. And he raised a dead girl. Like, Jesus is literally like doing his ministry right in the thick of it. And it's amazing. And after he heals a deaf man, like we say it like it just happened. Like, it's amazing. Like, Jesus, literally, a man was deaf, and then Jesus did a miracle, and then he could hear. Like, that's incredible. Take a minute and just breathe that in. And then this is amazing. So the more he did so. Oh yeah, okay. So he says, guys, don't like be spreading this around. The people were overwhelmed. This is Mark 7:37. People were overwhelmed with amazement. And they said, he has done everything well. He even makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. Yeah, buddy? You have to go to the bathroom? All right. I will be right back. Sorry, my boy, little boy had to go to the bathroom. He did everything well. It's amazing. So Jesus, they literally say, everything that you've done it well. So he's like doing things with excellence. And so that is valuable. Then later after Jesus' death and resurrection and ascension, Paul is instructing the Corinthians on how to do church life and how to minister to people and everything like that. And he goes, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, yeah. And so I looked up whatever you do, like in the Greek, and it literally means like everything that you do. As a Christian, Paul is saying every single thing that you do, this is the aim high, right? This is the aim high. Do it all for the glory of God. So everything that you're doing, just try to do it all for the glory of God. So whether you're at work or at home, or you're managing your finances, or you're paying bills, or you're praying, or you're teaching your kids, or whatever you're doing, do it all for the glory of God. And so it's just this whole thing I just think is it's on my heart a lot these days. This whole, I'm calling it, and I didn't coin this phrase, I've read it somewhere, but the ministry of excellence. Like, what does it look like to just do everything in a way that glorifies God? To really raise your standard and like aim high and try your best. So all of that to say, even tuning your guitar, even changing the strings on your guitar can be done with excellence in a way that glorifies God. So that's why I take my time. I let the oil sink into the neck and things like that. Okay, next we are going to take this guitar off. We are going to redress it. All right. Got my guitar strings here. Elixirs, for those of you who are into guitars and into strings and stuff, I like these. They're 80% bronze and I don't know, they're just called 80-20 bronze, all right? Some people don't like these because they have a coating on them of like plastic or something, but yeah, nano-wed bronze, bright and focused with a smooth feel. That is what I'm going for. So strings have all different sizes, like gauge. It's called a gauge. It's basically how round it is. I like these ones. These are light. A lot of people will go with super light, and then if you like a kind of more of a crunchy sound, you would do a medium. But yeah, these are my favorites. So I normally will take the peg and I put all the strings in first. The strings come out of a little case, and I put all the strings in here. For those of you who are just joining, I'm so thankful you're here. We are literally hanging out tonight, practicing social distancing, and I just thought I would go live and show you guys a little insight into how I change my guitar strings. And we talked a little bit about the ministry of excellence, as I'm calling it. What does it look like to be really good at the things that you're passionate about, and how that glorifies God? We all have different things that we're built for, different things that we are called to. And as a worship leader, I am called, I feel called to help my church engage in sincere worship. You've probably heard me say that before, but I really think that's part of my calling, is to help people discover God and explore their faith in Jesus. And from my perspective and from my understanding of the Bible's teachings, a big part of that is worship. And one of the ways that we worship God is through song, through music, especially corporate worship. Some of you would have went live. I went live yesterday morning on Facebook and worshipped, and was leading worship and spending time in worship. Okay, so I'm just like giving like tension to these, right? I'll be honest, it's more fun and more, I even think more biblical and kind of a better way to worship, musically worship, in a corporate setting altogether. So it's hard. It's hard to worship alone. It's probably one of those things that's like, it's a discipline, it's important to do, and I do that. But in a time where like I really enjoy leading worship from the stage, and leading people in worship. So just wanted to give you a little insight into my life there. Just want to check the battery on my computer and plug it in. Hi, Evan. I hope you're having a good night tonight. So, here comes kind of the fun part, is putting the strings on the guitar. This is where this multi-tool comes in handy. There's probably like super awesome ways to do this, but I kind of maverick it a little bit. This is not meant to be a tutorial, so if you are restringing a guitar and you want to go deeper into how to do that, shoot me a message and I can talk about it, or just YouTube it. The way I learned was from a friend of mine who learned from Sam Roberts. So Sam Roberts is a Canadian rock star, and apparently this is how he changes his guitar strings. It's a bit of a struggle, but here we go. So guys, how's everyone doing? How's everyone holding up? Ooh, loud. I feel like I'm doing this the wrong way. No. Okay. So, if I was making a pre-recorded video right now, I would time-lapse this whole thing. But because you're live, you get to just watch me actually struggle through this for reals. And I'm trying to focus because I just want to make sure that I'm doing this the right way. And there's little tricks you do along the way. Ow! Such a great skill to have. Yes, my friend, stringing a guitar string is a bit of a training in endurance. Endurance training, that's what I'm doing right now. Maybe in patience and diligence. And the result of a newly stringed guitar is like this beautiful sound that even after like a few moments, the guitar will start losing its like brightness. So a newly stringed guitar is wonderful. It's so good. Then you switch this around. Thanks. There's a couple of things I want to show you inside my guitar case in a little bit, because some of them are fun, and I thought it'd be fun to show you what's in my guitar case. I hope everyone is making themselves comfortable. Grab a coffee, whatever you want. Make some popcorn. Cool thing about these days is that it doesn't seem like anyone's in a hurry. We all have just so many hours to be occupying our time, so I thought I would change my guitar strings, and yeah, I hope you guys are having a fun time. So more about this book. Jason Reiner talks about how there used to be this saying, jack of all trades, master of none. And he claims that that is a misquote. Now, I may be a bit too trusting or something, but when he explained the misquote, I believe him. I just plainly believe him. He says that the quote was from this friar or something back in the day. some guy, smart guy, who said it's important to be a jack of all trades and a master of one. So be good at everything, a little bit, but really focus your attention, your passion, your heart on just one thing. And do so with a focus of bringing glory to God. So it could be a skill, like be really good at making a thing, or programming computers, or it could be kind of a soft, like more abstract thing like leadership. Be really good at leadership, or empathy, or sales strategy. Okay. This is what a not tuned but freshly strung guitar sounds like. There's probably some like analogy in there about like the strings are on but it's out of tune. So we'll take a break. We'll let that kind of sit there for a second and just kind of acclimate. Wanted to show you something really interesting that I keep in my guitar case. First of all, I usually keep strings, a tuner. This is a humidifier for your guitar. I don't actually use that. A bunch of extra picks. I have a very specific pick I like. Everyone does. But this thing I wanted to show you is really interesting. This is my very first paycheck for being like working in a worship ministry. So this is from Temple Baptist Church, and this is one of my internship paychecks. And it's a practice that my grandfather gave to me. He taught me to keep your first paycheck from every job. Not paycheck. He actually kept his first paycheck. I kept my first pay stub. And the reason I keep it in my guitar case is because I really feel pretty strongly about like this gift of music that God has like blessed on me should be and really ought to be only used for his glory. And so I feel pretty strongly about that. Like I could probably go and like be a studio musician or compose songs or something. Not that I'm good or anything, but I have a little bit of skills. But I really, really love to play music in church. And I think that's what my calling is. Like, I feel really strongly about that. So I just keep that in there because I know, like, I feel like I've been called into ministry, into worship ministry. And so that's just a little fun part about me. Pretty cool, eh? Okay, now that these have been sitting on for a second, a couple little steps I do here. I will trim the fat. I call it trimming the fat. There's a little, in my multi-tool here, little guy here. And I'm going to just trim the little ends off. I leave on about an inch, just in case I really, well, I've never had to, but in case I really screw up and have to restart, just leave on an inch. It also helps if I want to use my strings on my other guitar, like I talked about earlier. For those of you who weren't here, sometimes I use my old strings on my old guitar instead of buying new ones, just because. These are sharp, so don't let your kids play with those. Okay, now I'm going to go through and tune my guitar. For those of you who have been here since the beginning, I know this is like a long video, but it's really fun, so here we go. Now, I know this is kind of like, why are we watching him tune a guitar? But it's all part of the process, dude. It's all part of the process. lot of you can, as a beginner, you'll be like, can this string get that high, or is it going to snap? Well, they're meant to get that high, so they won't snap. E, A, D, G. Here's a one, this is just like, I went through once and just tried. So it still doesn't sound in tune yet because as you tension up each string, the actual physical guitar will alter a little bit and everything's just kind of settling in. So when you tune this one up, these ones will tune down and likewise. So you really have to dial it in. It takes a little while. The other trick is I always will give it one round and then I will... Oh, I'll answer that question in 1 second. Did someone lose an eye? Okay, I'll answer that in 1 second. I usually go through now and I stretch the strings. So these strings you'll notice, there's the note, and as I stretch it with my finger, it will lower. Just lowered like a microtone, really. There's that one. Hear that? So you want to get as much of that tension out of it as you possibly can to kind of stretch it into playing. Because when you're playing, the strings will bend. It's literally just the metal like bending. It's nothing really fancy, but I have had guitar strings break. Now you'd be surprised how much tension they can take. Usually, one of the reasons they would break, of course, you could probably guess, bad technique. Strumming techniques will break strings if you use the wrong pick for your style of strumming. So you really got to spend some time. Again, it's all about that skill, mastering a skill. Spend time learning how do I naturally want to pick, and then find a guitar pick, strum, and how to find a guitar pick that works for that style. Here's another round. So a second ago that was in tune. Now just stretch the strings one time, and they've all kind of stretched out like this. So now I tune it again, and it goes E, A, D, G, B, E. Now I'm going to dial it in before I give it another try, because by now they're not going to lose too much more of their tone, so or pitch. So now I'm going to dial it in a lot. I'm going to be a bit quiet for a second just to do this. Then I'll grab a pick and I'll give it. So everybody is gonna have their own way of like testing their sound and everything, but this is what I would do. I'd play an E chord. Is that too loud? It's too loud. I have kids sleeping. So anyways, that is how I would tune my guitar, guys. And again, like I'll probably go through and keep stretching my strings and retuning and stuff like that, and it's really just like this whole practice that you do with different things that you would have in your life. If you're a photographer, you might clean your lenses, or if you're I don't know, if you work with tools, you might clean your tools, or maybe you dial in your lab stuff. Can you hear? I'm really trying here. It's getting late. My brain is getting a bit tired. So I'd go through and just tune that a few more times. And that is basically it, guys. So I really thank you for coming live with me this evening. If you're catching up with this later, hope you enjoyed it. At Brookside Baptist Church, like, I'm just so excited for the future of Brookside, and I'm kind of sad about these days, like, we can't get all together, but what I do love is the ability we have to connect on social media and on the phone and on texting and all that stuff. So please, guys, like, make the most of it, right? So just, like, get out there and talk to people. Don't get out there, but, like, kind of challenge yourself. Pick up your phone and talk to somebody, and hang in there, guys. Like, I'm praying for you. Leadership at Brookside is praying for you, and we're literally trying our very best to just, like, have meaningful interactions with you guys. So we love you, and thanks for joining today, and we will see you in the next video.